one young and dynamic leader from the pharmaceutical industries, Mr. Vishal Chandwani. He is the owner of Assure Pharma, Ahmedabad. He is in
Good.
pharma healthcare industry since a decade and owner of two healthcare companies, which are awarded by CIMS. His company is Pen and Pen India Presents, doing export to Joint Secretary of DMMA, Marketing and Manufacturing Association based in Ahmedabad. I welcome to Vishal Sanwani to this session. Please welcome, sir. Please continue.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I like to discuss about the challenges which, as a company, what we are going to face and what is going to be the scenario of healthcare post COVID-19, or let's say during this phase. So, is the PPT? Can you see the PPT?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's start with the challenges. The first challenge, which according to me is infrastructure and safety. Second, resources. Third, logistics. And fourth, alignment of goals between government and companies. So what are these challenges basically? I'll discuss it further about it, but these are the basic. There are a lot of other challenges which are there, which obviously we are facing, but these are the basic challenges which are there for any company, whether it's doing a domestic business, whether it's doing exports, they are facing at this point of time. So like you before during this session only, this question was asked to Shri Khanna Saab, that what will happen to the companies and how are they going to perform during this COVID-19 era or post COVID-19. So if we look into these basic challenges, then I don't think any of us will have any problem in existing or doing business, and I'm sure this will help the viewers as well, who are right now doing their pharmacies and other things, so they can also understand this, that as a company point of view, what we feel and what we think will be the basic challenges. So let's start with infrastructure and safety. What I mean by infrastructure is not about how the government, and nowadays everyone is saying about the bed and all these things. What I mean is what we as a companies, how we promote, what is the basic infrastructure right now which is there. Like we go to the MR, the medical representative goes to the doctor, they promote, they promote the medications and the doctor prescribes, and then they are basically supplied either to the chemist or to the hospitals, whatever the basic infrastructure is. But now, as after COVID-19, or let's say this COVID-19 era, going and physically promoting to the doctor is a big challenge, and that is basically the big safety hazard nowadays. So many of the news in which are coming that companies are firing or shelling off the MRs, the medical rep, because why? Because going and promoting to the doctors in interiors or in the cities, big cities, is a big task. So there is no basic as such otherwise infrastructure which is there. This is the infrastructure which we have developed throughout this years. But now this is becoming more of a meaningless or a dicey structure which we are in. So now what is what is to be done to overcome this? The first and foremost thing which any company will have to do is they have to create a digital interference and a more of a centralized system. Right now, what basically we were working was that there were zonal managers, then there were regional managers, then there were area managers, and then there were medical reps. So it was more of a decentralized system. Uh, and there was a big hierarchy which was there. The sales manager would report to area manager, then zonal manager, then on and on. But now we'll have to be more centralized. We'll have to create a back office, like more of you can say how an IT company is working. We'll have to create interferences like chat boxes, or more of we'll have to take more we'll have to upgrade ourselves in terms of like Zoom and all these things, which we'll have to how we can use them, how we can integrate in our systems right now, or and making it work. So that will be, I guess, the basic structure which we'll have to create, or this is how we'll have to move ahead. Secondly, creating a data. Most of the companies, they do have their data right now, but the data, again, the data as in like what doctors they're prescribing, but mostly the data are with the zonal managers, area managers, and all. But now it will have to be more centralized, more like how a central team, how much data they are collecting, how much data they are gathering, not only in terms of the doctors, but the smallest of the chemist shop, and how they are able to create a network among all of them through digital phase and not the physical aspect. Obviously, there will as nobody knows when this COVID-19 will be an end. Even if, like, let's say for example, now you see in China, it is said that there is no cases coming up, but then still people are now also quite cautious. They are scared. People keep on wearing masks even in China. So this impact on the minds is there, and it is going to be there. So for that, we'll have to more focus on the centralization of everything rather than what the basic pre-COVID-19 structures were there. Then creating a network, as I said, the networks which are there right now, how we can digitally connect them, whatever the network which we had in terms of stockists, in terms of chemists, in terms of doctors, how digitally can they be created, that we'll have to see. And then somewhere we'll have to create a digital interference, as I said again, to create to connect each and every one of them. So this is what I feel, this is going to be the basic thing to work to market the products, whether it's an ethical company, whether it's a generic company, or whether it's a franchisee based module, or let's say if it's not in the domestic market, even in exports, we'll have to be more focused on all of these things. So the second is resources, the challenge which I think is there. What are the basic resources for a marketing for a pharma company? The basic resource which I think will be a problematic is of right now as APIs, because we are so much inclined toward China in terms of importing of APIs. Right now we are dependent on China as well. But then now, how to overcome that and how to focus on that is going to be a big thing. So we now, as we all know, the prices of APIs is increasing and the manufacturing part, because of the government norms which were previously there. Now you have to bring up the bioequivalent data and all that, BE data and everything. So how to overcome that? The first thing is sharing licensing. Just how remdesivir is, how for that as well. That is the best module. Like, we'll have to share our licenses, our patent drugs to and create a new kind of business develop model. And I'm sure for this, Dr. Agrawal sir will be able to help and give us more knowledge in terms of how the patent and drugs can be shared and how the licensing part can be shared. Again, the easing out policy for the product development, and I don't mean the product development just in the terms of formulation. We will have to see how, with the government, how we can work out from the scratch to, like, let's say from the intermediate parts till the formulation part, how the policies of the product can, the development can be eased off, for especially like hydroxychloroquine, how the government helped the manufacturers to come up with the more manufacturing of that particular medicines. So that is basically the model. Now the government and as well as the manufacturers, the Indian companies will also have to see sharing data and markets. Again, like the markets which some, like I'm talking in terms of global markets. Let's say if X company is already having a market share in particular in a country, and he's having all the registrations and everything, how he can bring up the other molecules which he's not having, which he's not expertise in, and bring them up with the help of other companies, and share a market share in that. That is going to be a key role. And the same will there be in domestic market as well. How we can create a data, how we can share the data, that will be a key thing. That's what I feel. Now the second thing is logistics. Most of the companies now must have faced a lot of hassles, a lot of problems in the logistic part. Go taking medicine from one state to another state now has become very tedious job. It has become very tedious procedures. We ourselves faced a lot of problems during the lockdown period, and still there are a lot of problems which we are facing as of now. In fact, I'll share one of the incident. We had supplied a medicine during in the beginning of April to the adjoining state of Maharashtra, but we were able to supply in the goods, the medicine reached there after 20-25 days, which in normal day was taking just 2 days. The same way we had exported a consignment to Botswana. Normally it would have taken 7 days, but because of all these problems, the air cargos were not working, and the customs was not working properly. It took at least 20 to 25 days, and in the end it became a very stressful time for us as a company to cope up with this situation. So what has to be done? We have to keep a very intact supply chain. That is the basic key thing which we'll have to focus on, so that the shortage of the goods doesn't happen. If our supply chain, and supply chain means whether it's the stock at the companies, the stock at the distributors, till the stock at the chemist, will have to be very intact in terms of whether the supplies are there, the inventories are there. So we'll have to be very focused on that. The decentralization of supplies, what I mean by that, like mostly generic companies nowadays, or the franchisee companies, they are having the direct supply to the distributors, in rural areas. But now we'll have to decentralize it. We will have to create stop points, just like how ethical company is working. Why MNCs like Cipla or Cadila were able to supply properly, or their supply chain was not hindered, because they were having a supply chain in uh, smallest of rural of areas. They had CNF throughout. So that was somewhere, even though in lockdown, that was helping out, and they were able to create more supply than a mid-sized company as well. Addition of logistic partners. We'll have to create more logistic partners. We have to create more CNF agents, small, create more small hubs where and add them up, so that like, we are a very vast country, and let's say from supplying from one a place to another is a very tedious job at times. So we'll have to add partners to us in terms of regional partners, or CNF agents, what we say, to create more easy supply chains and do a proper logistics. Now, lastly, this alignment of goals between government and companies. What is basically the goal of a government in terms of healthcare, or what is the company's goal in terms of a healthcare industry? They have to be aligned to each other. We cannot just think from a profit sharing basis. We'll have to, as we are into healthcare industry, we have to focus on the human part as well, and the same goes to the government. They cannot just think from one perspective of providing free medications, or just providing a medication. There has to be an alignment. So for that, what is to be done? There has to be some restructuring policies of the government policies, like how now the government is trying to restructure the policies related to API, and that is a very good and a welcomed gesture from them. So this is what is to be done. Like how it is to be done, they have to create an API. They have to restructure the policies, which is very much necessary. Samely, now adapting to the policies, as a company, we have to adapt to certain policies even though we don't like it. For example, the best thing is, like, the government implemented a DPCO on sanitizers, and without any hindrances, or without any opposition of any company, everyone got adapted to it. Everyone started manufacturing it, and everybody was able to supply. What was the result? It was a win-win situation, not only for the companies, but for the government and for the people. Now we are able to there is an ample amount of sanitizers available, PPE kit available in India. As the Prime Minister Shri Modi also said, that we are the second largest manufacturer of PPE kit in the world. And why? Because we were able to adapt to the situation as well as to the policies. The third, which is the most important policy for any government in the world, is quality. So we have to focus on the quality part, because quality is the best policy. That's all. That is all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vishal Chandwani, for sharing your wonderful knowledge and experience on pharmaceutical industry challenges and the logistic challenges, and what is the opportunities to the pharmaceutical industry. Now